Greetings, everyone. On the screen is a picture of my breakfast this morning. I needed a huge breakfast to sustain me this day. It's gluten-free pancake and all the trimmings. I'm going to also mention something, a conversation I had with a viewer on my channel, and the person pretty much said, why are you so touchy these days? I'm not sure if it's a male or female. And when the person said that, I got calm in my spirit, because the truth is I was really lashing out on this individual. And I realized that one of the reasons why I'm so uptight right now is because of what we're facing. And let me give you this analogy. I'm in a room. Let's say there's 5 persons in this room with me, and they're of my race. Someone is kicking down our door, and I'm up, and I hear it first. The thing is, those who are in the room with me, we're not having any kind of good relationship. However, the only way for us to survive is for me to wake them up and ask them for the strength to sustain me, so we can work together to, face the ones who want to enter that space and bring us harm. A lot of times I would say, forget about these ones. Forget about your own people. Just when they're of a certain mindset, just ignore them. But realistically, can you really say, forget about it? Let's just stick together. How many people are in our community that are truth seekers or truth speakers? How many? So even though you want to abandon or reject these ones, will you clearly see are your enemy? You're hoping that you might be able to persuade them to think otherwise, that you might be able to encourage them to see your point of view. Because even as you are trying to teach them, they're attacking you. And even as you're trying to protect their own interests, they're going behind the door, the crossroads, and they're leading your enemies to you. But can you really say, forget them? When you look at our ancestors, and those who made it to freedom had to rely on individuals like Paul Bogle and Marcus Garvey, for example. These ones were wealthy. The typical person with that wealth would have said, let's go our ways, let's just maintain our own business and accept our privileged position that we're in. But if that was the case, you and I would not be free. You and I would not have the wisdom to understand some things that they were able to explain. They went into Babylon. For example, Marcus Garvey went into Babylon and understood the game and was able to then come back and teach it to some people who accepted it. But some wouldn't accept it. And we know we cannot save everybody. But at the same time, can we truly and ultimately really give up on these ones who are blind or deaf? Sometimes all it takes is one of you to really open their eyes, to say some things and cause them to change their mind. We can't save them all, of course not. But can we give up? We cannot. Because even if we can't save the grandparents and the great-grandparents, what about their children? The descendants of these ones. We have to continue to do that work to enlighten, because colonization never stops. And the colonization of our mind is one of the most deadly games, the most dangerous games. And folks understand this. They get it. They're collective in their effort into constantly F with our people and come up with every effort and opportunity to keep us in that low vibration. You think they're not working while you're sleeping? Do you think the whole story of redemption is something that's just put out there to free and save you? It is not. So with religion, our minds, is held in bondage. And even those of us who try to fight against that and think we are free from it, we are not. Because in order for me to explain myself, I have to speak in the language that you would understand. And so I don't say Jesus as my God, but I say it in a way that you can understand. Those of you who apply yourself to that discipline or that sort of indoctrination. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people's religion here, but I'm telling the truth. Because this religion that was given to us is like a albatross around us. And while we are holding on to that, we fail to see what's happening. That the more things change, the more they remain the same. The bullying and the bullies of 500 years ago are very much here. Their descendants is still here. And the spirit that dwell within me and you, that's get up and rise up in our spirit and make us angry, are their spirit, because they're saying, listen, nothing has changed. So don't let these guys fool you. We're in a greater battle, a greater warfare. And don't think it's just a handful. There's much more who are in that state of mind that want to continue to keep us in bondage. But that's not how they speak. They speak with soft voice and whispers. Some of the scriptures say, you know, they have the face of a lion and the voice of an angel. And so we're not talking about division. It would be nice that this euphoria or utopia, I always, mix these two things up. The utopia that we want, it is just in our mind. We're never going to get that utopia. It's not going to happen because there are people who spend sleepless nights thinking about how they can continue to destroy your peace. And they're not hiding. And they often present their plans in the movies and in the songs. We can't just sleep here. And, we can't just give up on the ones in our midst, because you are hoping that when you continue to put the message out there, that you're going to wake up somebody, one person, two person, and they might be able to go on and spread the message. You don't see what's happening? Can we be sleeping at this time? Many of us will lose our lives. Many of us, if you are not compliant, if you're not complicit with the master plan, you will die. But you cannot fear that. And you cannot fear the man. When you understand that there is something greater in you. As I said before, I would rather worship the God in me than the man in you. And so some of us come into this world and we think we're here to gain wealth and material possession. But what we're here to do is to call the man at his game and to stand up in front of them, knowing full well that you might lose your freedom or worst. Those who came and said no more, those who were able to defy the plantation owner and run away, and not only do that, go back to take some people with them. The woman said, I could have freed more people if they knew they were slaves. It's the same thing that we're dealing right now. So as much as we're fed up with them and we don't want to be bothered with them, they don't know better. You see, when people brainwash you and people treat you badly, and these are the ones who are dropping the scraps off the table for you to feed you and your children, after a while, you start seeing these ones as the ones who are going to rescue you. How many times have you seen the individuals present themselves as your deliverer? How many times have you seen that? Come to your area, come to your territory, come to your home, come into your life and get up. And then come back and say, I'm coming to help you here. Here's a handout. I'm going to deliver you. The same descendants who perpetuated evil upon this land are the same ones, same ones that we hear about and we experience. Our ancestors and their ancestors alike had the same conflict we're seeing in this time. Can you remain silent? God forbid. Can you just really walk away and say, forget our people? No, you can't. And it's frustrating and you get angry. And you want to just forget about them. And in the end, you will have to leave some of them. But you can't give up. Because a lot of times I give up. Sometimes I'm tired of them. I don't have time for them sometimes. Because I'm thinking, what is this? But as the looming danger lies ahead, I can't go to these ones who pose the greatest threat to me and ask them to free me. And I know I can't depend on my own people who are so deeply steeped in that house slave mentality. Just don't let anybody come out here and tell you that they're trying to save you. None of them not trying to save you, man. Save you from what? Save you from poverty? Because we've grown to accept poverty. Save you from what? While they're juicing and reducing your worth, your self-esteem, your value, every sign in front of you, there's nothing demonstrating any positivity towards us. Nothing encouraging our children. Just constant working behind the scenes and setting up their children to continue the journey. And those who are opposed to it are silent. So even the ones who are not for it, are not about that life, they're silent because they recognize their own fruit that they benefit from these onslaught against our people for hundreds of years. And so colonization never rests. It will never end. It just takes a different form. When you got a handful of persons telling a million people how to live their life, how to be, what beauty is, what, freedom is, who God is. And God often looking like these ones. Not in my world, but that's a message. That's a message that is given to us and our children. And so we're left in this position where there's a great conflict. You want to run away and stay away from your own. But even when you go to these ones and go into spaces where they're at, they don't accept you. And if you have something they want, they will take it. But at the end of the day, they will never acknowledge you and respect you as an equal. So the struggle continues. And it's getting worse as the day goes by. So yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm uptight. Because me and mine face a terrible, terrible future. Stay blessed, everybody. Keep fighting. Amandla.